Okay, I'm going to show you how I rebuilt my Costco Sonoma Platinum Edition stainless steel grill. It's about 8 years old now, and I needed to replace the burner manifold, and some other things were getting rotted out on it. And I also changed it. The main thing I'm telling you is I changed it over to natural gas. As you can see down there, there was already a valve in this house with a 1/2 inch line coming out, and then I bought a 3/8 heater propane or natural gas heater hose, 3 foot, from the hardware store that connected onto where the existing propane hose came underneath. And then I'm not going to get under there and show you, but as you can see, here's the hose that came from the propane tank underneath, 5/8 or 5/16, and it had a side burner, which I deleted. I never used it. Here was part of the old manifold, the center section. As you can see, they rot out. And this was all stainless too, but this is the third one I put in, and I just put this one in a couple days ago and switched over to natural gas. So I'm going to show you how I did that. Here are a couple of the stainless steel burner covers that over 8 years have just rotted out and warped. So I bought some new stainless and fabricated some new ones instead of trying to buy new ones from Sonoma, which I bought thicker stainless steel that they'll actually be better. So I'll show you a little bit on how I did that. I've already done this, and I didn't take any film of it, so I'm just going to tell you what I did. And it's a little dirty because I just smoked. Make sure that's lined up. I just smoked a brisket in here like yesterday for 8 hours on one burner under the smoke pan on low, and it kept it at about 200, 225, just like perfect. So this actually worked out really well. And there'll be no more running out of propane and keeping an extra tank and going down and filling it up and all that hassle. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot cheaper too. I always leave one in this one burner or the other side. This is a flat piece of stainless I made for that to cover the soot coming out of it. And I always keep just a homemade one I welded together. It's getting pretty old too. Smoke pan. Then like I said, these are a little bit dirty, but I just used them a couple times. But I got some I think it's about 1/8 inch stainless, a piece of sheet of it at the scrap yard. And then I took my drill press and drilled some holes in it, which I don't think is necessary. Put it in a vise and put a little radius on them. For the ones that I just showed you, they were all warped, 8 years old. And those were only about a 1/16. These look like they're 50% or maybe 100% thicker, so these should last another 8 years or more. So the burner, it's a 3-burner. So I'm still lined up there. Maybe I can get you a little closer. Yeah. This is the new manifold. Just screws in with 3 screws. This piece comes off, and this covers up the 3 valves and the 3 brass jets that are in there. When you're going to switch it over to natural gas, you don't know really what the pressure is coming out here, or you might not even know the line size. Typical 1/2 inch maybe for a deck like this is. And then the one that I got, there was actually a 1/2 inch. I could have got a 1/2 inch pigtail to go in. The one I got was 3/8 tax, and it actually probably increased the pressure a little bit. So instead of having expensive instruments, and you're just going to do a trial and error. So you got your new burner, or if you have a fairly new stove, you don't need to do any of this. You just want to try to switch it over, and you can. But propane's a lot more pressure, so what I did And I talked to the natural gas guy a little bit. He said, yeah, you just kind of got to take it slow and you drill out those jets and all. So you take this piece off, untake this manifold off. On each one of these 3 burners, there's a little screw-in brass jet. And I took them out and drilled them out a little bigger, but I don't even think you have to. I think you could probably fit a drill in there and just do it just while it's in the stove. Obviously make sure all the gas is off and not hooked up. And what I found is and what you want to do is put the new manifold on, get it hooked up to natural gas, and then see how it lights. And this one actually lit up. I just lit the middle one, but it was just like barely, like half the burner was maybe going. It was just kind of barely going on, really, really low. So I knew the jets needed to be widened out. And I didn't measure them, but you should. But it looked to me, the smallest drill bit I had was 1/16 of an inch, which is pretty darn small. And it looked to me, just eyeballing it, that I about almost doubled the size. They were probably about, those little jets were probably about a 32nd or so. So I just did the one, put the manifold back on there, and you don't have to screw it in or nothing because it just kind of butts up against those valve jets. And then turned it on, and it seemed like I was getting a pretty good flame. So I go, okay, well, I'll go ahead and drill the other 2 out. And then I go, well, I'm gonna basically bolt, you don't have to bolt it all the way, but put all the grills back on, and covers and everything, and then turn it on high. And this one has a temperature gauge, and it's pretty accurate actually. And I went in the house, and after about 10 minutes, this thing was pegging at 600 to 700 degrees. So I knew I was getting plenty hot. So I didn't need to drill them out any further. Actually, it might have drilled them out a little too much. But then, I turned them all 3 on low, and actually seen what the high temperature was. And all 3 on low was around 500, which is actually probably even hotter than what the propane was running at. But it's still pretty good, because then you can always just turn off one burner. And I always grill steaks off the heat, heat it up high and heat them off the heat anyway. So then the brisket I did yesterday, I just had the one over the smoke pan. I had 4 or 5 pans of smoke in there, and it kept it, like I said, just perfect smoke temperature on low or just a little bit higher. And it's really cold out. It's about 40 degrees out here. So I think you can do this, and I've looked online because I've always wanted to switch this one over, and it's getting old, so it's like, well, if I mess it up, maybe I'm due for a new barbecue anyway. It's paid for itself time and time again. So I was willing to experiment a little bit with it, but actually I'm happy with the results, and I think this will work. Just start off without doing anything to the jets, seeing how it goes, and you might have enough pressure and a 3/4 inch line or something where you might not have to do anything to it, just get lucky. But then instead of going like me, you might want to try to see what those jets were, mic them somehow with a little drill bit or whatever, and then maybe go like 25% bigger, 50% bigger, and so forth until you get the right burner going. So there you have it. That's how I did it, and I'm pretty darn happy with it. I wish I would have done it a lot sooner, but anyway, thanks a lot, and good luck with your project. Bye.